A bad hire will cost you between 30 and 150% of that person's annual salary. Now let that sink in for a second. And most business owners are still hiring the same way they did 10 years ago. They post a job, read some resumes, have a 30-minute conversation, and then go with their gut. And then they wonder why it didn't work out. Today, I'm going to show you how AI changes every single step of that process. I built a real estate company to over 300 people, which means, I have hired a lot of people and I've made a lot of hiring mistakes. I've hired people who interviewed brilliantly and just performed terribly. I've hired people I like personally who had no business being in the role, and I've hired based on enthusiasm when I should have been hiring based on track record. Now, every one of those mistakes cost me money, it cost me time, and in some cases, really good team members who left because the wrong person was sitting next to them. So here's what I learned the hard way. Gut feel is not a hiring strategy. It's a bias with a good story attached to it. So the business owners who hire consistently well are not more intuitive than you, they just have a better process. And in 2026, AI has made that process accessible to any business of any size, without a huge dedicated HR team, without expensive assessments, and definitely without spending your entire week interviewing people who are never going to work out. So today I'm walking you through the 4 phases of the AI hiring system. But before we get into it, if hiring or team building is one of the things keeping your business stuck right now, that's okay. I do free strategy sessions where we find the real constraint together. Link is in the description. Phase 1 is the job post. And I know what you're thinking. How hard can writing a job post be? Well, it's harder than you think. And most business owners are doing it wrong in a way that guarantees they attract the wrong candidates before the process even starts. Here's the most common mistake. Business owners write job posts that describe tasks. They're responsible for answering phones, responsible for managing the calendar, responsible for client follow-up. And then they wonder why they attract people who just, want a job, not people who actually want to do that job well. Now, the best job posts are written around outcomes, not tasks. Not what the person will do, but what the person will produce. And what does success look like in this role after 90 days or after 6 months? What problem does this hire solve for the business? And what changes when this person is performing at their best? That is a completely different kind of writing. And most business owners sit down to write it and end up copying the last job post that they saw on Indeed. So this is how AI fixes it. Open Claude or ChatGPT and give it this prompt. I'm hiring for fill in the role. In my fill in the type of business. The 3 most important outcomes this person needs to produce in their next 90 days are, I'll list them, right? Write me a compelling job post that attracts high performers who are motivated by results, not just people looking for a paycheck. Include what makes this role and company worth their time. Now, what comes back is a job post that speaks to the kind of person you actually want. Someone who reads it and thinks, man, that sounds like me, right? Instead of, I guess I could do those things. And here's the bonus. Once you have a strong job post, feed it back to the AI and ask it, based on this post, what are the 5 most important qualities and experiences a strong candidate should have? Now that becomes your evaluation rubric for the entire hiring process. Every candidate then gets measured against the same standard. Your job post is your first filter. If it attracts the wrong people, nothing else in your hiring process can save you. Now, phase 2 is screening. And this is where most business owners lose the most time in the hiring process because they treat screening like a personal obligation. They feel like they owe every single applicant a conversation, and they don't. Here's a typical scenario. You post a job, 40 applications come in, you read 40 resumes, you schedule 15 phone calls, you have 15 conversations, most of which within the first 5 minutes are going absolutely nowhere. And now you've spent 12 hours of your week on a process that produced maybe 3 candidates worth actually interviewing. So AI eliminates the manual screening bottleneck. And here's how to set it up. First, build a screening questionnaire. Use AI to generate 5 to 7 role-specific questions based on your job post and your evaluation rubric. Not generic interview questions, but specific questions that reveal whether someone has actually done the work before. Tell me about a time you had to manage a project with competing deadlines. What was your process? What does a great week look like in your current role? Questions that require real answers, not polished ones. Now send that questionnaire to every applicant before the call happens. And the people who answer thoughtfully are worth your time. The people who send back, one-sentence answers or don't respond at all have just screened themselves out of the process. No call required, right? For higher volume roles, tools like Spark Hire let candidates record short video responses to your screening questions. The AI analyzes the responses, flags the strongest candidates, and surfaces patterns. like which candidates use specific language that correlates with success in that role. Now, you reviewed the top 5 instead of 40, right? That's the beauty of the system. And if you're running your business on Go High Level, you can build an automated intake workflow that collects applications, sends the screening questionnaire, and follows up automatically. So you're only notified when someone actually completes the full process. You go from 40 applicants to 5 serious candidates without a single manual step. Your time is worth more than any individual candidate's comfort. Screen aggressively. The right person will respect the process, the wrong person will ghost it. Phase 3 is the interview, and I want to be direct with you about something. If you're walking into interviews without a structured question set, you're not interviewing. You're having a conversation and hoping your instincts are right, and they're probably not. So research consistently shows that unstructured interviews, where the interview asks different questions to different candidates and goes wherever the conversation leads, have almost no predictive value for job performance. Almost none. You would do nearly as well flipping a coin, right? So structured interviews where every candidate gets the same questions in the same order and is evaluated on the same rubric predict performance dramatically better. And AI makes building a structured interview process effortless. Now here's the prompt for, feed Claude or ChatGPT your job post, your evaluation rubric, and this instruction. Build me a structured interview guide for this role. Include 5 behavioral questions, 3 situational questions, and 2 questions that reveal how this person thinks about, fill in the blank, the most important skill for that role. For each question include what a strong answer looks like and what a weak answer looks like. What you get back is a complete interview playbook, right? Every candidate gets the same questions. You score every answer on the same criteria. And at the end of the interview process, you have comparable data on every candidate instead of a collection of vibes and first impressions. And after each interview, feed your notes back to AI. Ask it, based on these interview responses and the evaluation criteria, what are the strongest signals and the biggest concerns about this candidate? It will surface things you glossed over in the moment, right? Because maybe you like the person. Liking someone in an interview is not a predictor of job performance. Having evidence that they can do the job absolutely is. Phase 4 is reference checks. And I know exactly what most of you are thinking right now. Nobody does reference checks anymore, right? Everyone just lists references who are going to say good things. What's the point? The point is, done right, reference checks are the single most underutilized source of information in the entire hiring process. And done wrong, which is how most people do them, well, they are completely useless in that case. Calling a reference and asking, can you tell me about, time John demonstrated leadership is useless. John's reference is not going to say, actually, John was a terrible leader and we're relieved that he left, right? They're not going to say that. They're going to give you a polished answer that tells you nothing. So here's how AI makes reference checks actually useful. Feed AI your job post, again, your evaluation rubric and your interview notes for the candidate. Ask it to generate reference check question guide that probes the specific areas where you had questions or concerns from the interview, right? So it ties back. If the candidate struggled to give a clear example of things like, managing conflict in the interview, your reference check questions should probe exactly that. Can you describe a specific situation where the candidate had to navigate a difficult team dynamic? What was their approach and what was the outcome? It's specific, it's situation. It's harder to answer with a rehearsed positive response. And pay attention to what the references do not say as much as what they do say, right? The pauses, the qualifications, things like he works best when ... That sentence is never finished with something good, right? So I also asked the reference for additional references that the candidate didn't provide. Ideally, someone who they worked for, someone that they worked with, and someone who worked for them, just to check how they operate with different people. I had a bad hire where he really impressed with the people that he worked for, but he was horrible to his coworkers and even worse to the people he considered his subordinates. So for background and employment verification, tools like Checker automate the process completely. Criminal background, employment history, education verification, it's all done digitally in hours instead of days. There's no manual chasing, no waiting. Reference checks do not confirm that someone is good. They confirm that the things you liked about them in the interview are real and surface the things they did not tell you. If this is hitting home, hit subscribe and share this with another business owner who is about to make a hire. Last piece coming, and it's the one that ties everything together. Here's the truth about hiring that nobody talks about. A bad hire does not just cost you money. It costs you momentum. It costs you the good people who have to work alongside that person. And it costs you the months you spend managing the situation instead of growing the business. So the AI hiring system does not guarantee you will never make a bad hire. Nothing does. What it does is stack the odds dramatically in your favor by removing gut feel from every step of the process and replacing it with data, structure, and consistency. So it's 4 phases. Write the job post around outcomes, not tasks. Screen aggressively before you spend time on calls. Interview with structure and score every candidate on the same criteria. Check references with questions that actually surface the truth. That is how the best business builders hire, and now you have the same system. So if you're gearing up for a hire right now and you want to make sure you get it right, this is exactly the kind of thing we work through in my free strategy sessions. We'll look at the role, the process, and make sure you're set up to bring the right person into your business. Link is in the description. Book it. It's free. Also, hit like if this gave you something to work with. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, and share this with another business owner who's about to post a job on gut feel alone. In the meantime, go out there and cause and create miracles, and I'll see you in the next video.